Hello everybody and welcome back to my learning space. Today I'm out here just chilling outside. I figured let me just change up the environment, and honestly I've been indoors for the longest time, so it's probably good for me. I'd just like to take a moment and I'd like to say thank you to all of you who have supported me this far. YouTube has deemed me worthy by broadcasting my videos out to people, because I've had some people reaching out to me, letting me know that my videos have been really helpful to them, and that is all because you are watching my videos, and so YouTube is putting them out to the people, and I'm really grateful for that. So whether you have been watching, whether you have been commenting and liking or sharing, you have played a role in this. I really love what I do, so it really brings me some joy when my videos are being helpful to people and lets me know that I should keep doing this. So thank you. Another thing I'd like to mention is that if you have not already seen, I am on Patreon and I do have a PayPal account as well. If you feel like you'd like to donate to my channel, you can definitely do so by either being my patron on Patreon, or you can make a once-off donation via PayPal. That is in the About section of my YouTube channel. Otherwise, I will also leave a link on this video and probably some of my other videos in the future, if you'd like to do so. So without any further ado, let's get into the topic of the day. So having confidence and trust in yourself when you play, that's something that's so tricky. I found in my own personal journey, because as a musician you never really reach a point where you feel like you have the authority to say what you feel like you want to say in the music, and saying, you know what, this is final, this is it, this is what I mean, this is my truth. Because in essence, big names, Quincy Jones, Stevie Wonder, they will always be practicing. There will never come a time where even at the caliber that they are at, I'm pretty sure that they are doing a lot of work even today to fine-tune the things that they are really good at. So with that confidence really does take a little while to gain, but hopefully today I can give you a few tips on how to get better at that. I just like to give you a quick story, and some of you might know this from my video called The Day I Almost Quit Music. Coming from a classical background, I was pretty confident in my playing for a very long time. If you've played classical music, there are a lot of notes in there, and when you can nail those notes, and you start to build a level of confidence when you go on stage. And when I started jazz in varsity, it was like going from 100 to 0, ikanda, nix, nilch, nothing. Going from being able to read all of those notes to then someone asking me what is the meaning of all these chord progressions that you've been playing, and I was like, I don't know, I've just been memorizing them. So when I started to learn jazz harmony, I realized that I actually didn't know much, and I had a lot of practicing to do. I've played for so many years. At this point, I've been playing outside of my classical training. I've been playing for about 6 or 7 years, and even today I still get nervous when I have to take a solo. Even today I still get nervous when someone asks me to play with them. But I think over these few years I've learned a lot of things that have sort of taught me to not to think about things so much. Another thing is that when I was a beginner, I was always keen and eager to join a lot of bands. Contrary to my feeling inferior, I actually joined a lot of bands. I played with a lot of people, and I watched a lot of gigs, and that gave me a lot of perspective, because I saw people that I looked up to make mistakes. I saw people playing really simply, whereas I thought I needed to do a lot of, I don't know, I felt like I always needed to have a complex solo. Although I love complex solos, they don't always have to be like that. So some of the reasons why you may be feeling like this, I know there are some of you out there who are watching me really, who after hearing the story you're like, dang, this is what I'm going through right now. And I want to tell you that I know that some of the reasons why you feel this way, one of them is because you compare yourself, not even necessarily to other people or players in your vicinity, but you compare yourself because there's so much good music out there. Like, man, when I listen to the masters play, I think to myself, will I ever even get to that point in my lifetime? Like, will I ever sound jazz enough? And that's another topic that I actually want to delve into. Is there's the standard about jazz. Is it really the standard for music? I mean, there are so many great players and so many great musicians and or artists who have really changed the way, who have impacted people's lives, who are not jazz players, like Beethoven, Handel, the Beatles, Queen, Miriam Makeba, Brenda Fassie. There are also jazz musicians who were really well known but were not avid improvisers, but we know them for their heartfelt playing or singing, like Billie Holiday, Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith. Those are singers who we love them for their tone. You know, when you listen to Billie Holiday, you know Billie Holiday, like from the moment that she starts singing, she's got such a unique voice and feel. And she didn't always improvise. Well, did she ever? You know. So another thing when speaking of jazz is that improv is not everything. If anything, I feel like improv really helps you. It's a way to express yourself, but also it helps with composition, because at the end of the day, when you're improvising, I've heard a lot of people say that it's a way of composing, which I really agree with that statement, because essentially you're just trying to come up with melodies. And it's good as a musician when you're able to have the freedom to take a chord and run with it, take a chord and express it in many different ways in the way that you feel. So improv is good with that, but it's not the end if that's not really what you're into. Sometimes, you know, when you play, it's just like you're even scared to play a note. I remember I would sweat, my armpits would sweat when I would have to take a solo at a jam session. I'd just be like, ah! But of course, being the poker face that I am most of the time, people would not even be able to tell. But I would sweat so much. Like, I would play, you know, a few notes and I'm like, okay, it's going well. And then as soon as I play something that I didn't intend to, I'm like, oh, it was too good to be true anyway. We all know you sucked. This is what I told myself in my mind. I was like, you know what, might as well give up now. And I would sort of give up midway into the solo, and then while that's happening, I'm starting to lose the form, and then it's downhill from there. And then I'm like, oh, now they're gonna remember me as this pianist who can't play. I can't tell you how many times that has happened. I've also, weirdly enough, listened to solos where I'm just like, the solo is so average, but when you watch this person, they look the most confident and as if they know exactly what they're doing, and they intended to play every note, you know, and then it ends up sounding like an excellent solo, you know, which is weird. Like, sometimes when you watch people, because of their level of confidence and authority that they have with their music, you sort of start to believe them because they actually believe themselves, even though when you analyze what they're doing, it's probably really simple. So what I'm saying is that we want to hear you. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear the things that you're struggling with. Don't keep yourself cocooned in a bubble until you feel like you're ready to hatch. We want to see you when you are in your beginnings. We want to hear about your struggles, voice them up so that we can offer you some help. Because when you voice them up, I'm pretty sure that you will be speaking for a lot of other people who go through the same thing, who are just like you, who are not, who are scared to talk about these issues. There's always something to learn from a person. Being a teacher, I've been teaching since I was in my second year at varsity. That was in 2015. And at that point, I remember I was teaching. My second year of varsity, I really couldn't even improvise that well. I felt like whatever. But because I had such a strong belief in myself, I was like, you know what? Stop thinking about it too much. I've learned a lot in my teaching. What I've really learned is that a lot of students don't believe in themselves. A lot of them have self-esteem issues, and sometimes it's also amazing to me how, as a learner builds their skill and capability on their instrument, their self-esteem also gets boosted. Like, they actually feel like they are people who can do something in this world. These great musicians all had one thing in common. They were heartfelt. They had a message that they brought across to the music, whether it was a political message, whether it was about love and romance, whether it was about purely entertainment. They were themselves, and we know them for the kinds of characters that they are in the music. I don't think a lot of great musicians were particularly thinking about 2/5 to A major while they were doing the things that they were doing. But I'm pretty sure that they all knew that it felt good, and they probably would know exactly what to sing over that 2/5 to A major. So even as a beginner, when you have a note in mind, strike it. Strike that note. Trust every note that you strike. Another important thing that I want to bring up to you before I end this video is that life is not all about jazz, okay? It's not all about harmony. It's not all about your instrument. You need to really consider why you are on this earth. What is your purpose? And you need to look to God to that, not to jazz or jazz musicians. It's all great and well that they can play well, but I think we are all trying to be on God's right side, and I think we all need to dig deep and really see what that means for all of us. What does it mean to be on the right side of God, and what purpose are we here to fulfill as people? Jazz will not take you to heaven. I can assure you that for sure. Being a great player, having lots of instruments or hip equipment is not going to take you to heaven. Playing on big stages will not either. Let's go deeper than just trying to be the best of the best in this earthly world. Let's try to really dig deep and find what our purpose is. Because sometimes I find that this whole chase of improvisation can be so shallow sometimes. The chase of being a big artist can be so shallow sometimes. During my journey, I realized, because for a long time I thought I wanted to be the hippest pianist in the world. That's still a goal of mine, but I've realized that I want more out of life. I want to be in a relationship, a marriage. I want to have kids. I love to cook. I want to cook for my family. I want to build a home, and I want to teach. And I believe that that is one of my purposes. But I believe that within trusting yourself and having confidence in yourself is knowing who you are. What is your identity? What is your identity with Christ? What is your identity with God? Because in Him you can never fail. In Him you can never fail. You can make all the mistakes in the world, and He will welcome you with open arms. Unlike this unforgiving world, unlike this world that if you're not good enough, it'll just dispose of you. Yeah, so what are you striving for? Are you striving for perfection, Or are you striving to be you and authentic? Because when I go to live shows, I don't want to hear a perfect player. I mean, that's so boring. And sometimes when I listen to old jazz records and I hear some of the cats make mistakes, I'm like, whew, okay, I know they're human at least. You know, sometimes you'll hear like a trumpet crack or a saxophone squeak, or you can hear that the pianist sort of pressed like 2 notes at the same time by mistake. Yeah, because we're all human, and allow yourself to be that. Take the time to know what your voice is in music, not only in music, but what is your voice in this world. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hoped I was able to plant a seed of confidence and of hope and of faith. Yeah, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know where you need help or guidance, and also send me some video requests. I would love to know what kind of videos you guys would like to see. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you this lovely greenery. There was a bee that was just about to, okay, good thing it didn't come. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you some of this greenery just to take you out of the video, and I will see you soon. God bless.